Hello, matriculants, and welcome back. Today we are going to be discussing and talking about catchment area and river management. Catchment area and river management. Okay. So first of all, and fundamentally, we are going to be talking about how we can manage our rivers, how we can keep our rivers clean, and so on, and other factors that are affecting negatively our catchment area. First of all, maybe you're asking yourself what catchment area is, okay? And please, guys, don't confuse catchment area and drainage basin. Although I can say they are the same thing, yes. But a catchment area is the same. It is the area around a river from which it gets its water. So the catchment area is the area around a river. So maybe we can say those specific households are on the catchment area, not on the drainage basin. You can't say it's on the drainage basin because a drainage basin, um, it's an area where a river gets its water. So yeah, so that's the difference. So a catchment area is the same as a drainage basin. First of all, so a catchment area, it is the area around the river around the river from which it gets its water. Yes, that's a catchment area. So a catchment area is an area or is the same as a drainage basin. It is the area around a river from which it gets its water, right? Yeah. So a catchment area, it can be, yes, you can also build your own house in a catchment area. So that's why most people that are affected by floods are said to be settled on a catchment area, or people that are the victims of landslides and so on. Yes, including floods, as I said. Okay, that's a catchment area. So let's talk about the importance of managing a drainage basin or the catchment area. Let me write it down here. Importance of managing drainage basin or catchment area. So this is the importance of managing a catchment area, because the question during exams might come as the importance of managing a catchment area straight like that. But since catchment area and drainage basin are said to be the same things, okay? The importance of managing drainage basin or catchment area. The importance, number one, you can say, for agricultural purposes. Agricultural purposes. Agricultural purposes. How? For instance, for irrigation or to water our crops, we need water from the rivers, or we need to be around catchment area, or we need an access to the catchment area. That's number one. For agricultural purposes, for irrigation, and for the watering our plants. Industrial purposes, number two. Industrial purposes. Our industries, in order for them to work properly, they need water from the rivers and so on. Okay? And they also use this water for other processes. Flood control. Flood control. The fourth one, domestic use. Domestic use, I'll explain after. Recreation. Hydroelectricity. Electricity. Natural vegetation. I can say the last one, but not least, bird and wildlife. Wildlife is the same as I can say the ecosystem, right? Yeah. The ecosystem, right? Yeah. So I've explained agricultural purposes, industrial purposes. For flood control, this is to prevent the floods, by making sure that there is no activities such as overgrazing and cutting off of the trees, which is deforestation, and other activities related to these kind of activities whereby the vegetation is removed from the ground, so that we can control these kind of floods, and planting more crops on the ground and making sure that the vegetation is healthy and always present on the ground. For domestic use, we know that we always need water for domestic use, for cooking, drinking, as well as washing, right? Either washing the clothes or washing the dishes. For recreation, I can say walk along the bank, boating, those games that are held in the rivers for boats. Yes, that's kind of recreation. That's part of recreation. Paddle or wade in the current. Fishing, yes, that's kind of recreation. Fishing, yes, and also we benefit a lot from fishing. Yes, some people use fishing to eat, mostly in those poor countries, developing countries, and so on. Yes, fishing is their activity is so essential and so important. Or just sit and relax on the river. Yes, that's some kind of recreation. Okay, hydroelectricity. We know in order for us to have electricity, we have to generate a lot of water and so on. Yes, so water is it's a very important resource input for us to get electricity, right? Yes. um, Natural vegetation. Yeah, yes, natural vegetation. Not to dump dirty stuff on the rivers and polluting our catchment area, so that we can keep the natural vegetation around the catchment area healthy. Like there's vegetation inside the river, on the floor of the river, and so on. There's vegetation, so we must keep that kind of vegetation to live. Bird and wildlife. Yes, bird and wildlife, which is ecosystem and so on. We know most of the birds, they feed on fishes, or they feed on the animals, like small animals that live in the catchment area, right? And wildlife. Yes, for the wildlife, we know we have crabs, we have some snakes, we have some fishes, right? Yes, we have some fishes and other animals that are living on the catchment area. So that's why it's important to manage our catchment area. Yes. Yes. Okay, guys. Now let's move to the impact of people on drainage basin or catchment area. Okay. Yes. As we already discussed, the importance of managing these catchment areas. Now we're going to discuss the impact of people on these catchment areas or drainage basin, right? Okay. Number one, you can say industrial pollution. You can say industrial pollution. Industrial pollution, that's the first one. Okay. We know the industries or the factories, they pollute the land, right? Yes, because there will be waste products on these industries, and those industries tend to dump all those waste products to the rivers and so on, or close to the rivers on the catchment area. Okay, and some kind of oils and other fuels that are released from industries, they pollute the water inside the rivers. Okay, the second one, you can say agricultural pollution. Okay, agricultural pollution. Agricultural pollution. Okay, agricultural pollution refers to the pesticides are washed away from these farms or from these cultivated lands to the rivers. Okay, yes. I can say chemicals that are used to fight or to move away these pests or some insects that are more dangerous to our crops. So these kind of chemicals are going to be washed away during the rainfall. So during the rainfall washes away these chemicals that were applied to the crops, away to the rivers, okay, end up polluting our rivers, affecting the ecosystem and the rivers, killing the plants inside the rivers, okay. The third one, you can say cars by means of fuel combustion. There's a lot we can talk about this. You can say, cars pollute the atmosphere, and therefore resulting in acid rain. The acid rainfall is not healthy, and therefore it will pollute the rivers, right? Okay. And also the oil leaks on the cars will wash their way by the surface runoff to the rivers, end up polluting the river. Can also say the sewage. Most of areas, mostly in South Africa, they dump their sewage on the rivers and so on, right? Yes, so the sewage will pollute the river, which is not healthy. Overgrazing. Overgrazing, this is whereby the livestock like your cattle, your sheep, and your goats are feeding over on a certain area, end up the grass, and that end up running over the grass. Overgrazing, and this is whereby the livestock is overfeeding on a specific area, right? End up running out of grass and some vegetation on the land, and this will cause more surface runoff on the ground, end up causing the floods. Yes, I think it's the same as deforestation. Okay. Yes, deforestation is one of the impacts of people on catchment area. This is whereby people are cutting off or cutting down the trees or forests by the purpose of maybe they need some woods to open fire for warmth, for cooking, and so on. And also for manufacturing, so that you can make up poles and so on. And also ceilings, doors, and other material that is made up of wood. Yes. So that is deforestation. Okay, let's move. And also deforestation can cause a large amount of water surface runoff. Let's move to the impact of human settlement on catchment area. To the impact of human settlement on catchment area. Okay. Catchment area. The impact of human settlement on catchment area. Okay. fundamentally or specifically, the impact or the things that we're going to talk about, this is whereby if there is more housing or more settlements on the or around the catchment area or on the ground, this is whereby there will be less water surface runoff, right? Yes, there will be less surface runoff. Yes, so yeah, if there is less settlements, it's a vice versa, it's an opposite. If there is less settlements on the land or on the catchment area, this is whereby there will be more surface runoff and end up causing floods as well as vegetation. If there is more vegetation, there will be less water surface runoff, or if there is less vegetation, there will be high surface runoff. Okay, yes. So let me like I love to draw a land so that I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let's say this is land on the catchment area and this is the river. This is the river. And on this side, let's say there are more houses. Let's say there are more houses and vegetation. More houses and vegetation. Okay, let me say this is a house. There are more houses this side and more vegetation. Okay, this show vegetation for these. So there is more vegetation. More vegetation and more houses. And on this side, few houses, less vegetation on the ground. Few houses, less vegetation on the ground. Few houses, less vegetation on the ground. Less vegetation on this side. Okay, so let's say there is rainfall occurring or there is precipitation. If there is precipitation, so the precipitation will fall. Rainfall. Okay, let's say rainfall, right? Yes. And also on this side, rainfall. Right? Yes. So yeah, since there is more settlements and more vegetation on the ground, there will be less surface runoff. Okay, but in this side there are few houses and less vegetation. There will be high surface runoff, end up causing floods on the catchment area, on the settlements around catchment area. Okay, so here there will be more surface runoff. There will be more surface runoff this side. Okay, yes. So let's write notes down. Yes, so there will be more infiltration that is occurring here. More infiltration that is occurring on this side because there are more houses. That causes the speed of the surface runoff to slow down, end up causing it to infiltrate on the ground, and there's more vegetation on the ground. The water on the ground infiltrate and get absorbed by these plantations, or the crops on the ground, or the vegetation on the ground, right? There's more infiltration in this slide. More infiltration. More infiltration. Here, there's less infiltration or no infiltration in this side. Okay, high surface runoff. Okay, so let's write the points down. More houses, and vegetation, will cause low runoff, low surface runoff. Okay, and high amount of infiltration, as you can see in the diagram. High amount of infiltration. Okay, so less settlements and vegetation will cause high surface runoff, and low infiltration end up causing flooding. So less settlements or more houses and vegetation will cause high surface runoff. And low infiltration, as I said. Infiltration end up causing floods. End up causing floods. Okay, so this all means that when the vegetation is present, there will be low water runoff, and when vegetation is removed, there will be high water runoff. Okay, yes. So let's write that down. Okay. Okay, let's see this. This means that, and bear in mind, guys, that impact of human settlement on catchment area will come out during exams. Okay, so you should master this and know it. Vegetation. This all means that when the vegetation is present, there will be low water runoff. Low water runoff, and when the vegetation is removed, there will be high water or high surface runoff, right? Yes. So that's how it goes, guys. Guys, let's talk about strategies to manage drainage basins in catchment areas or catchment areas, right? Um, strategies. Strategies to manage drainage basin catchment area. And mind you, we're talking about catchment area, right? So when we are talking about strategies to manage these catchment areas, we also talking about how we can manage or how we can improve our catchment area um, in terms of and keep our catchment areas clean at all the times, so that we can also save the lives of the plants that are living around the rivers, around the catchment area, and also so that the animals that are feeding to those particular plants can also survive. This all means that you can also save the ecosystem, right? Yes. So the first thing is to improve water. Yes, improve water, like wastewater. Improve water. Improve water. Improve water. You can say wastewater. There is always wasted water. This is so this is to use or to reuse water that we have used before, right? The water that are used to flush our bedrooms, the water that we use to bath, yes, to improve it, to purify this kind of water. Okay. Yes. So secondly, to maximize, maximizing wastewater reuse for irrigation and other purposes of generation, right? Second thing, can maximizing wastewater reuse for irrigation and other purposes of generation. Yes, so that the wastewater reused for irrigation to benefit our plants, our crops by irrigating using this wastewater. Okay. Thirdly, in the dry season, release stored water to keep ecosystem as natural as possible. You can say that. In the dry season, release release stored water to keep ecosystem as natural as possible. Okay, you can also say remove alien vegetation. Okay, remove alien vegetation, because alien vegetation is dangerous to normal vegetation, right? Yes, and it also takes all the nutrients such as water from normal vegetation. Can also say monitor overgrazing to reduce erosion. Monitor overgrazing. This is preventing overgrazing to reduce erosion. Erosion. Like how can monitor overgrazing? This is whereby we are going to construct fences around a particular place whereby the livestock is feeding from. When the grass is about to be over, or when grass is over on a certain fenced area, so that you can take all of the livestock to the next or to a different fenced area, so that you can allow the other area to take time to grow again, the vegetation and the ground. Okay, the other thing, proper sewage treatment. Proper sewage treatment, and also educate people on the importance of catchment area and river management. Educate people on the importance of catchment area and river management. River management. Management. Yes. So to educate people on the importance of catchment area and river management, like to educate people on the community or people that are living around the catchment area to keep the catchment area as healthy as possible all the time. They can keep it clean, they can treat it so good, to keep it safe, to keep the ecosystem safe, and so on, and also to stop polluting the river, right? Yes. So the other thing, and last but not least, you can say to monitor and improve water purification works. Okay, you can say educate, monitor, and improve water purification works. Works. Yes. Monitor, improve water purification works. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, and please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment on the channel.